and Council City District 1. We're taking what happened years ago, a tragedy here in our community, and turning it into a celebration of life and honoring an organization that developed out of this movement from this tragedy. We have various speakers today to address the issue and celebrate with us. And first and foremost, I'd like to bring up our council member for the 1st District, Gil Cedillo.
Good morning. It is an honor and privilege to be here. As Freddie said, we are trying to take tragedy and turn it into triumph. There are those moments, Stonewall comes to mind in New York, instances where tragedies become the rallying point. And so we're here today on Avenue 41, acknowledging a tragedy that took place with Bobby Brown and his family, a time period in which people thought that they could hang out and just beat up gay people simply for being gay. They thought that that was okay, that that was a norm that was going to be accepted for a community that had not yet fully matured politically, had not fully expressed its power, had not been able yet to find its place in society. Well, we're here today to celebrate the life of Bobby Brown and say that that tragedy is now a triumph. That no longer will the LGBTQ community be in the shadows. No longer will they be without a voice. No longer will they be without a place. Because today's Los Angeles is a place for all people, regardless of where they come from, regardless of what languages they speak, regardless of who they love. And love is really what's needed today. I'm so happy to see Bobby Brown's family. You'll hear from them. It's robust. It's continued to move forward. 15 years ago to the insidious disease of cancer, and I've committed my life to do good deeds in her memory and to create a legacy of her life. And we're doing the same here for Bobby Brown. We're going to take an insidious act and turn it into an act that incites us to do good deeds and to move forward. This community is in change and it's in flux, but it's a community that love can guide towards unity, towards acceptance, towards cooperation. Unity is our call. Love is our path. And so today, with so many things going on in the city of Los Angeles, acts of violence throughout the district, love is the answer. And I know that Bobby would be proud that a movement has been created here in Northeast Los Angeles, and that we are here to celebrate and move forward in his name. Thank you. In a minute, we're going to unveil this square so that it can be here, and people will know that this was the spot where a movement was initiated. And this is a spot where love will emerge over hate. There's so much ignorance in our society today, so much stupidity. And so it's upon us to approach matters in an enlightened fashion, to use facts, and to have faith as we go forward as a community, always in pursuit of unity. Freddie, you have another speaker? Yeah, so I want to thank you. God bless each and every one of you for being here. But I want to thank Bobby Brown's family. You're doing the right thing. You're doing it the right way. You're making him proud. And you're making us proud. So thank you so much on behalf of Council District 1. It's an honor for me to be here with you. And let's move forward to this unveiling as we hear the stories and testimonies of Bobby Brown. Thank each and every one of you. God bless you, and I love you much.
Thank you, council member. Now, when I read Bobby Brown's story, I read it, but many people who are here to talk today in the program lived it. So our first speaker to attest to the tragedy that happened here is Ruth Riley, Bobby Brown's sister.
"35 years ago, on March 31st, 1983, my brother Robert Anthony Brown, who was known by the community as Bobby Brown, it has been a discussion that has come up many times in the last 35 years on how different our family would have been if he was still with us. He never had an opportunity to get to know his baby brother and sister that were only 11 and 4 when he died. And his godson, who was only 2. He never got married, had children, met his nieces and nephews. He never got to live like the rest of us standing here today. His death and the toll on my family cannot be put into words. His death should never have happened, but he was a gay man and he was not treated with the respect he deserved of this. The LAPD did not do their job, as the suspect was just around the corner from where the earlier robbery took place. If they had bothered to look, they would have found him before he took my brother's life. On August 20th of last year, I was on the train coming home from work and looking on Facebook to see what was happening in my circle. And I see this article from the East Sider that says, "The 1983 murder of a gay man in Highland Park is mostly forgotten, but that may change soon." As I read this article, I realized that this is about my brother Bobby and his murder. I'm completely taken back to the day we got the phone call telling us he was dead. I immediately emailed the paper and this organization, UGLA, that and my family was completely unaware of. I'm thinking, who are these people and what do they know? Why do we not know about them? I received responses from both the paper and UGLA within hours, and came to find out that this organization was started because of the murder of my brother and how the gay community was treated back in '83. The community was outraged and they quickly contacted the LAPD. They worked closely with the LAPD to make changes for the LGBT community and have done so for the last 35 years. They have done some wonderful things within the community and can continue to do so. UGLA, as well as the newspaper, did not have any information on Bobby and thought him to be just another gay man that had been put out because of his lifestyle. Well, I'm here to tell you today, as I told them, Bobby was loved by his family and is still loved and will never be forgotten. As we gather here today to remember Bobby and the wonderful work that UGLA has done for so many over the years, my family and I want you to know we will be forever ever thankful to UGLA and the city for this dedication. I have since joined UGLA and have had the pleasure of getting to know this organization and the wonderful people that run it. I am especially thankful to Debbie Was for her desire to ensure that the horrible death of my brother Bobby will never be forgotten, and she and UGLA has used it to better the LGBT community. Bobby will live on in our hearts of many to come. His tragic death has helped so many, and my brother is smiling down on this day. Bobby knows, as we do, that something positive, such as UGLA and the changes within the LAPD, have come from something so tragic. My family, which includes Bobby's mother, Annabella, his sister, his brothers, his nieces, his nephews, his aunts, his uncles, his great nieces and nephews, all thank you with all of our heart for what you are doing today. Thank you.
I found out that the council member wanted to put up a square in memory of Bobby Brown. Several of us on staff are openly gay, and we said, wow, this is amazing. Not only is he doing something for our community, but he's making us as his staff members proud to be part of this community. So we're very grateful, council member. Thank you. So, as I mentioned before, out of this tragedy, the Uptown Gay and Lesbian Alliance was born, and the founder is with us here today, Richard Bass.
Good morning, everybody. I can't take credit for being a founder. I can take credit for being a co-founder. I'm feeling so much emotion today, and part of it is actually grief, because when Bobby Brown was taken to us in the middle of the night, my partner at the time, Gus DeClaro, executed a vision that he had right on the spot. He created a group called the Uptown Gay and Lesbian Alliance, gathered his neighbors. He invited us all to come to the Bonmont Bar, just up the street, where Bobby Brown was coming from. He invited the LAPD to join us, and they accepted. He also included Morris Kite, an activist at the time in 1983. We had a meeting that changed everyone's lives here in Northeast LA. Gus called meetings every third Sunday of every month, and now 35 years later, UGLA is still meeting. The first major activity that Gus organized was to join the beautification program that was taking place up here in Northeast LA. And what this showed was, while we were out there, LGBT people out there painting out graffiti and sweeping and cleaning weeds and debris, that first of all, we look like anybody else. Secondly, that we care about our community just like everybody else does. So to be here today with all of the stakeholders, the LAPD, Bobby Brown's family, the council people from Los Angeles City, it's absolutely thrilling. And because of Bobby Brown's tragic murder, we are here today continuing a movement in a community that believes that character counts and love trumps hate. Thank you very much for being here.
Thank you very much. Now we will bring up the current UGLA president, Carl Mathis.
Thank you, Freddie. I want to thank Councilman Cedillo for this effort today, for following through on this. We appreciate it very much, Councilman. Also, I want to just amplify what Richard said about being in the community. All of you, all of these surroundings, having family here, the extended family of Bobby Brown, having the founder of UGLA here, having Art Sandoval, the police here, and even having Santina here, who's written the song which you're going to hear later. I want to remind you that back in 1983, when this group started, Ronald Reagan was the president. Also, you might know that Michael Jackson released Thriller in 1983, so it wasn't a complete loss. In Los Angeles, Tom Bradley was the mayor. And Governor Brown, just like today, he was the governor in 1983. Also in the United States, there were 3,000 cases of HIV/AIDS. 1,800 of those people were dead by the time 1983 arrived. The gay community was under assault at many levels. In 1988, by the way, in 1983, because of this situation, UGLA members began raising money for Northeast LA residents who could not afford to pay their rent. who could not afford medical treatment. In 1988, Michael Weinstein, the president of AIDS Healthcare Foundation and the long-term member of our group, decided that AIDS was not just a West Side disease of white guys went over to the West Side, but it affected everybody. And because of that, he had the first hospice for AIDS right here in Elysian Park, started that hospice there to take care of the community. Also in that, a few years later, 10 years later, 1993, UGLA held its 10th anniversary, and the captain, the assistant chief of police came and was with us. We were so proud to have the police with us because we admire the work they have to do, and we want to see them as such a wonderful resource for everybody. Also in 1993, Richard Zaldivar, Northeast LA resident, began the wall Las Memorias here in Lincoln Park. And he's been a guiding light to help the community in those years. One other spot I want to talk about UGLA is that we have a charitable group, educational and charitable group. Since 1996, we have been able to distribute, this is a big figure, $600,000 in matching funds in the last 22 years to all 501c3 groups, regardless of who they are, the German Shepherd Rescue, any of the groups that are 501c3. So we're very, very happy to finally see this wonderful event happening today. And we're very, very happy that the community is here, and we're looking forward to our continued growth in this area. Thank you so very much.
Thank you, and thank you for mentioning that LAPD is certainly a partner in community policing here in Council District 1. Next up, we have our LAPD captain, Arturo Sandoval.
Good morning, everybody. This heinous crime spree occurred over a 1.5-hour time period. There were 3 victims shot, including, unfortunately, confronted Mr. Brown and demanded his property. They ordered him to the ground, took his property, and as they left, fired their rifle. There was a citizen who was driving by with his 4 children in the vehicle. The vehicle was struck by the gunfire. Fortunately, nobody was injured at the time. About an hour later, at 12:10 in the morning, a suspect armed with a rifle confronted victim Richard Nunez and demanded his property in the area as well. Before Nunez could give up his property, he was senselessly shot 3 times in his lower extremities. He was transported to the hospital and survived his injuries. Approximately 12:30 in the morning, once again, victim Robert Brown and victim Daniel Maxwell were confronted by a robbery suspect armed with a rifle. Victim Brown was shot in the chest and died here at scene. Victim Maxwell was shot in the leg and was transported to the hospital, surviving his injuries. Northeast Homicide detectives responded, canvassed the scene, and conducted numerous interviews. 15 .22 caliber casings were recovered from the scene. The casings located in the Nunez and Brown case were found to be from the same weapon. Detectives worked diligently on the case and identified a suspect, Thomas Cabuto, age 20. On April 11, 1983, Cabuto was arrested for this heinous crime. The weapon was recovered shortly thereafter. 1 day later, the case was presented to the district attorney's office, and 1 count of murder was filed, along with 2 counts of attempt murder, 2 counts of robbery, and 1 count of assault with a deadly weapon. On August 28, 1984, Cabuto was convicted for the murder of Robert Brown. and sentenced 36 years to life in prison. On November 15, 2017, Cabuto had a parole hearing where he was granted parole. This was against the recommendation of the Los Angeles Police Department. At this time, again, I'm here to offer my condolences to the family and to ensure the family, the councilmen, and to all who live, work, and visit the city of LA that the Los Angeles Police Department is committed, truly committed to protecting and serving everybody. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Captain. And as we mentioned earlier, this is a celebration of life. And to honor us with her music is Santina Gardano, who will be playing the Ballad of Bobby Brown.
Hi, I'm Santina Giordano, and a couple of years ago I was introduced to Oogla by some friends, and I was so moved by how this organization came to be because of, you know, a murder in the neighborhood that I love, and I was just really impressed with the work that they do and their diligence. And then I was asked if I would write a song, and I hope you guys can hear it. In 1983, one of our own was struck down in violence outside a local gay bar in Highland Park. Bobby Brown, your death was not in vain, oh no. Your friend Gus got people together to protest, and the UGLA was born. Bobby Brown, your death was not in vain, oh no. Out of tragedy, something beautiful and brave was born. The UGLA sprung up through the community like a flower that wants its justice to be happy and free. And now for over 30 years, with the members and help from the friends, out queers doing good in Northeast Los Angeles neighborhoods. Bobby Brown, your death was not in vain, oh no. Out of tragedy, something beautiful and brave was born. I see rainbow hearts everywhere. I see rainbow hearts with lots of care. UGLA, LGBTQ, we are the community. Together we stand, yeah. Together we're strong. Together we love. Bobby Brown, your death was not in vain, oh no. Out of tragedy, something brave and beautiful was born. I see rainbow hearts everywhere. I see rainbow hearts with lots of care. Love and let live. Yeah, love and let live. Love and let live. And let live. Thank you. And thank you to everybody for being here and coming together to show that we are a community and we care, and you know, we do evolve, and that we could just keep moving forward. And my condolences to the family, and you know, I'm really, it's wonderful that this tragedy was transmuted to something that brings love and hope and keeps on going on in Bobby's name.
That was great, gave me chills. So we all know that the mourning process is ongoing. Let us today begin the healing process as we all come together to unveil this square today in memory of Bobby Brown and UGLA. So at this moment, we'll have everyone come up and we'll pull the sign off and we'll declare this square Bobby Brown and UGLA Square.
You need a tall one, girl. Yes. Yeah. Because it won't get tagged. And it won't get tagged. It's not going to get tagged. Oh no, I don't know how to park. It's going to get tagged. They're going to have to work if they're going to do that. That's awesome.